Libraries, and I've been interim director since last May 15. And I'm very excited that we have a new director coming on board in June. So I will have had 13 months as director, and it's been just the most wonderful year. It's a wonderful library to be a part of. And I want to tell you a little bit about it, how library services changed, and how we use our buildings and how we offer our services. The Santa Cruz Public Libraries has 10 branches, a bookmobile, and a virtual services branch, which is our website. We serve 219,000 people in Santa Cruz County. Our service area goes all the way from the county border up past Davenport down to the border of Freedom. The area in Freedom and Watsonville is served by the Watsonville Public Library, so we are two separate public library systems. I'm going to talk about the Santa Cruz Public Libraries, and Measure S that you'll hear about in a little bit is only for the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. So we have 10 branches. We do about 2 million circulations a year, which means any kind of item, whether it's a physical item like a book, not a bottle of wine, but that's what I mean, or an ebook or something, a video downloaded. About 2 million a year are our statistics. Last year we did about 2,300 programs for all ages, and that's all the way from babies, all age groups you can think of, all the way to seniors. We saw almost 45,000 people just in the programs alone. That comes out to about 67 programs a week. And I'm talking a lot about the programs because the programs and all of the wonderful activities associated with them is one of the chief ways we use our buildings. We have a variety of buildings. One of our branches was built in the 19th century. One of our branches has been fairly recently renovated. It used to be a roller rink, and now it's a library branch. But every one of those buildings has some issues, has some renovation needs, has perhaps a need to be rebuilt. They're wearing out. And it is true that because of the Great Recession and even before that, we were not able to put the money into our buildings, just standard maintenance that you should do with the building. We just weren't able to do it. And so now our buildings are suffering for it, but the call for service is increasing. So we're caught in kind of a middle ground where this is the thing that we need to do. Because we've done a lot of things already. I've told you that our programs are increasing and the circulation is increasing of materials. But there's one other important thing that we have done. And that is we have signed a contract for a much broader, faster bandwidth for our internet for all 10 branches. And that contract will go into effect the first part of July. And that's an important thing to know, because that means the speeds will be faster, there'll be more ability in each one of the branches, but what it means is that our branches need to be rewired and recabled so we can take the best advantage of that contract. Now that's going to be important because there are people who come to the library to do research and need the computers and need it to be fast. But there's also small business people who come to the library. A one-person business, perhaps a person with a laptop, they'll come to the library. They're using the internet from the library, our Wi-Fi, and they're conducting their work in that way. So we serve people like that. We serve families who can't afford to have internet at home or who can't afford the devices. So the only way those children can do their schoolwork, those children can progress, the families can progress, is to use the resources of the library. So we need that broadband for them. We need to be able to help them be part of the 21st century and be on an even playing ground and take advantage of everything there is to offer. So that's a big consideration for us. We have about 223,000 single items in our collection. That's just one title. So War and Peace, that's one item. It doesn't count how many copies there are. We might have lots of copies. But single items, it's that amount. And it includes ebooks and videos that you can stream, as well as a hardback book, as well as a magazine. You might be interested to know that 1/3 of that circulation I was talking about, that 2 million, is electronic, is virtual. So 1/3 of those library materials we circulate are ebooks and video and downloaded audio. So we are definitely, the community is asking us to be part of the 21st century, and there's some changes we need to make to do that. So we have the staff, we have the most wonderful creative staff. We're doing all these fabulous programs, and we've signed a contract for an increased, better technology. Now the next thing we need to do is have our buildings be equal to all of these other things that we have to do. In 2012, we started looking at our facilities, and we hired a firm to come and look at each one and see what kinds of condition our buildings were in, what kinds of requirements there were. And across the 10 buildings, there are some buildings that need a new roof. We have our newest in Scotts Valley, which is the renovated roller rink. The roof leaks. This was a great winter for rain and a bad winter for rain for us, because that roof is leaking. Other branches need complete renovation. Downtown Branch is a very good example of that. And others, we just need to start over. In the Felton Branch, that building was built in the 19th century. I'll tell you the truth, when you go in there, the walls don't quite meet. It can be a problem. So we need a new building in Felton. In Capitola, we needed a new area for Capitola, so we got 3 used mobile classrooms. We put them together. We made a library out of them, and we said, this is temporary, we'll give you something better. That was 17 years ago. So they are still temporary for 17 years, so they need a new building. All the other buildings range from one end to the other. In Aptos, we need more square footage, and one of the things that will have to happen is the community and the jurisdiction and the library will have to look at what's the best way to do that. And one of the important questions we ask for every one of those 10 branches is, what does the community want? What kinds of library service do you want? What kind of spaces do you want? Some of our programs are Minecraft programs on computers. What kind of a space do you have to run a computer program? Some of our programs are book clubs for adults. What kind of a space do you need for that? Some of our programs are science programs. This community is very interested in science, and once a month we have science programs. What kinds of spaces, what kinds of equipment do we need to do the best job? And what are the programs that we aren't doing that we need to do? If we had a different kind of building, a different kind of space, what could we do? So all of the changes that we're talking about are changes that we invite the community to help us work out. I do want to say that the library in the last several years, but in this past year is when it became finished, is that we have a new governance system in our library. We used to have a system where we've been a joint powers agreement, but basically we had a board that was represented by electeds and citizen members. And now, as of January 1st, we have a board that is composed of the city managers of Scotts Valley, Capitola, and Santa Cruz, and the chief operating officer of the county of Santa Cruz. And what that means is that we are now recognizing the 4 jurisdictions that these libraries are a part of. And what that means is when we're looking at new buildings, is each one of those jurisdictions is going to be a big part of what we do. So Aptos, for instance, is in the unincorporated area. They're going to be, with Aptos community is going to be working with the county of Santa Cruz and the library to figure out what is the best thing for Aptos. Same would be true in the other incorporated areas. Capitola will take the lead on their branch, Scotts Valley on their branch, and Santa Cruz on the 3 branches in the city of Santa Cruz. So we are recognizing that everyone has a more equal part. This is a really positive change in the governance, and it is going to mean that everyone can be more represented in the decision making for the library. So I'm here with Kate Canlis, who is a member of the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. The Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries are the advocacy group for the library. And while I can tell you, and I could tell you more, I didn't tell you everything, about what we could do and what the buildings mean for us, Kate can tell you about the current campaign that's going on. So I would like to introduce Kate, who can talk to you about Measure S.
I think I am, although older, probably of the same mind as Pam about libraries. When I was a girl, I loved the library. My principal hangout was the bookmobile, where I got in a lot of trouble because I tended to have a lot of overdue fines. But when I retired, I was looking for something to do, and I tried a few things. I took piano lessons, but I had no talent. And I eventually decided that I did know how to read, and I loved books, so I became involved with the library and the Friends of the Library. And when I did, I discovered that the library was not the library I remembered. It was really a community center. And to stress that, I will tell you that in the last 2 weeks, I've been taking pictures with some very wonderful photographers who volunteered for the campaign. And we go around to all the branches and we've taken pictures of the different programs. And I encourage you to look at the campaign's website, Our Libraries, Our Futures 2016, and look at some of these programs, and what you will see are just amazing things. My favorite, I think, is TAILS, spelled T-A-L-E-S, to TAILS, T-A-I-L-S, where children who are problem readers and really have to be urged to read come with the greatest enthusiasm to read to the most non-judgmental audience you can find, which is a large, friendly dog. And when you see these kids, they line up and wait for their dog to be available so they can read to them. We have toddler programs. Toddler time was a wonderful photography experience for us because you really need a room with a door. Every time I opened the door to let somebody in, one of the participants tried to escape, so I spent a lot of time catching children. We have, as Janice said, tutoring programs where volunteers come and help older students with various activities. I saw a wonderful program in Scotts Valley where trained people were helping seniors learn to use iPads. I saw an amazing program in Aptos where kids were playing a war game, but they were playing it without a computer, without flashing lights, without buxom heroines. They were playing chess, and they were very enthusiastic. And an actual chess master conducts the program and leads the kids, and he stops the program midway through and puts a big chess problem up on the board, and if you could see the kids raising their hands, interrupting one another, calling out, trying to help figure out what the next move should be and how to do it, it was fascinating to me. I learned so much from just going around and looking at all the branches. And now we get to the problem that Janice has explained to you, which is that these libraries are old and they are just incompatible with the functions of the modern library. They need meeting rooms, they need wiring, they need roofs that don't leak. The Garfield Park branch, which you ought to see if you never had, is an original Carnegie library, so you know that this is a very old building. The downtown branch has so many activities, and including some things that the Cabrillo Extension does for small business and to teach people how to sell on eBay and to do all kinds of things. But again, the facilities are completely inadequate for all the programs and things that go on in the library. Now, I, of course, am an advocate for libraries. I love libraries. I love what libraries are today. I love what they do. And I really want to encourage support of Measure S. I'm trying to explain to people, and although we have made progress with this campaign, when I went around on my photo opportunities and tried to talk to people, because I had to get a release form from everyone who was photographed, I would ask them if they were familiar with Measure S, and even library patrons were not. So I am here today to ask you for your support, and the first thing I would like people to do is, if having listened to us, you agree that this is a good idea and a wonderful thing for the community as a whole, if you spread the word, if you talk to people you know about Measure S. I've left materials out, but I have much more. We can deliver lawn signs, we can do whatever it takes to support you in your efforts to reach out to Rotary and to your community, your neighbors, your friends, the people you talk to spread the word about Measure S. Measure S is, in its legal technical term, it is a special tax, which means it is a parcel tax which will last for 30 years and will be about $49 per residential parcel and a higher amount for commercial parcels. This money, and you can read in your ballot statement the restrictions that are placed on it so that it cannot be diverted in any way. It has to go to the physical rehabilitation of the library structures and buildings. It is totally for that purpose and cannot be in any way misused or passed on, or somebody can't decide, well, we don't care so much anymore, so we're going to use the money for something else. So if this seems like a good idea to you, and you have an opportunity to look at the website, to talk to people who use the libraries, and you believe, like Janice and I do, that the libraries need this money and need this help, and you can talk about it and support it, we would really appreciate it. If, having listened to us, you feel otherwise, well, then just forget you heard anything and be very quiet. Secondly, I have envelopes out that show how you can help. You can volunteer, you can ask for a lawn sign, somebody will bring it to you, you can participate in precinct walking or phone banking, whatever you have time to do. And of course, we need money. We have a professional campaign consultant, and we have a budget that will now cover 2 mailings. The campaign consultant strongly believes we need a 3rd mailing, which we have not committed to because we so far do not have budget for it. So if in any of those ways you feel that this is as important for Santa Cruz County as we feel it is, and you want to help and participate, we would certainly appreciate it. I have a lot of other information if people are interested about specifically which branch will get what. Just briefly, I will tell you that Felton, of course, will be a new building. Capitola will be a new building, partially funded by the measure, but they also had redevelopment money, so that's about a half and half proposition. Aptos will be remodeled and expanded. If you've been in the Aptos library, you can see how critical their needs are. Santa Cruz will be gutted and remodeled because it was built in the old-fashioned way that libraries were built and doesn't have any of the facilities that a modern library needs. Smaller branches that need to be, one has a defective boiler, so it's very cold in the winter, will get whatever remodeling or rehabilitation that they need. The money will be allocated per jurisdiction for that jurisdiction to determine what the physical facilities in its area have the greatest need. So hopefully, having listened to this information, you feel this is something you can support, and I'm just glad to have been here and be able to talk about it, because as you can see, I'm very excited about it. I will also add, and my conscience is making me do this, I used to be a member of this Rotary. I am a member of Resurrection, and I was born in May, so I'm willing to be punished. But I do want change. it, Cindy Jackson. And Cindy has been working with a library design consultant. La Selva will be rearranged and have new furnishings and be more usable. They have the same programs that all the branches have. You can do Tales to Tales or Toddler Time or book clubs or anything that you can do in a bigger branch at La Selva. And so it will be reconstituted in a way with new furnishings so that it fits all those programs.
It's gonna be all interior,
La
so.
Selva Beach also has a travel program once a month. If you traveled anywhere in the world, you're welcome to come and demonstrate and show slides or pictures or whatever you have. They also have free, if you have magazines left over that you no longer want, there's a free box there so anyone can come and pick up. What do you need?
Can we ask questions?
Yes.
I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
Is there not a branch in Watsonville?
It's a separate library
No, we-
system.
Santa Cruz Public Library stops at the Freedom border.
Oh.
And then Watsonville Public Library has the main branch
Oh, okay.
in Watsonville and the Freedom.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a separate.
But our bookmobile, and sometimes confusing because they don't have a bookmobile, and we have agreed to take our bookmobile out into some of their areas, so I
Oh.
can see why that would be confusing.
And then is this ballot June or November?
June.
Oh, okay. And I didn't know you could stream movies from the library.
Yes.
How,
Oh my goodness, yes.
how do you do that?
Sure
Just
can.
through the website? Or-
All you need is a library card, and you do it through the website, and for each, we subscribe to several services, so you just go onto the website to that area, and then each one of them has you enter your card number in a different way.
Oh.
And everybody who has a card has a PIN number. It's usually the last 4 digits of your phone number, unless you've changed it. And you enter that, and then you're set to go.
Like
And when we're
Overdrive?
faster, it'll be even easier for you.
Like Overdrive or 3M or something?
Yes.
I know you can
All of
download
that.
books from there, but I didn't realize you could stream movies
Yep,
as well.
yes, you can.
Oh, cool.
Yep, yeah.
Kind of tailing on that one, but you've answered most of it in your presentation. But for those out there, maybe, I just think there's an underlying feeling that libraries that serve their purpose, I know,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be the,
No, I get
you know,
it.
and if we shut them down to save community dollars, they can be replaced by the computer, the program, you can get the information, Google, et cetera. So what's the comeback in like 4 or 5, you know,
Well,
book clubs?
let me tell you what happened, because I remember very well when the internet first really got very powerful. People said, well, so much for you. And I said, no, that's not what's gonna happen. And that isn't what's happened, because I'll give you a couple examples. One of the services that we offer is reference service, so people will ask us questions, come in and ask us questions, and we'll give them the answers. And before the internet, they would come in and say, well, when was Shakespeare born, or what is the capital of Nebraska? Well, they don't ask us those questions anymore because they can Google those. They ask us way more complicated questions. Our questions are far more complex than they used to be, because people can get kind of the basic information, but if you've ever done a Google search on something you care about, you get 100,000 hits back. And what do you do with that? What do I look at? Do I look at this page? Do I look at the third page? Where do I look? And one of the things that library staff can do is help you look at those sites and say, no, this is paid for. If you go into this site, this is a vendor that's supporting the site. Here's a site that will give you the neutral information. So that's how that's changed. So actually, what the internet has done is just allowed us to work at a deeper level. And then the other thing not to forget is that there are many people, and right here in Santa Cruz County, who do not have access to the internet at home, do not have the ability to have the devices. And we need a place for those talented people to go to have an equal playing field to make their futures as well. And that will never go away. And also, what will never go away is a child needing a picture book.
Yeah.
And it will never go away, your first-time parents who have this wonderful baby, and what do I do now in terms of literacy and reading. And we do a lot of modeling. We show people a lot about how to introduce them to books, which is like right away or before they're born even. So there's a lot that we do. That's my answer.
Can I just add one little thing to that, is these consultants who were very knowledgeable in libraries came years ago and did the big study as to what the libraries needed, part of what they determined was that the branches have 500 patrons or users per hour.
Yeah.
So if there were no need for libraries anymore, these 500 people, I mean, where would they go?
And the other effect is that, I don't mind, look at you, I gotta look at you. The other effect is that, yes, there's all these things you can do online, but people still need to be with people. You guys are all here. You wanna see each other. You gotta get your $5 directly. It's good to be with each other. We need to be with each other as human beings. That's what we need to be. So libraries still need to be that place where people can come together and solve problems or be together and figure out the next step, be together with other mothers who also have toddlers that Kate has to chase around to bring them back. So that is never going away as long as we're human beings. We need places where people can be together.
What, and you may have touched on this somewhere in the presentation, who enforces the use of the money, or supervises it, or oversees it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What happens, and it's written in the ballot language, and you can go on the website and find it all written out. It'll also be in your packets, which I think must be coming out soon because the absentee ballots will be coming out soon. It is very clearly specified that the money, we have established a community facilities district for our service area in the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. And the money goes there, and then by a formula, it's distributed to the county and the 3 cities. So that we're going, if it is successful, Measure S would rate, usable money would be about $63 million. 26 million will go to the county of Santa Cruz, 25 million will go to the city of Santa Cruz, 8 million will go to the city of Capitola, and 3 million will go to the city of Scotts Valley. That has all been agreed upon. We did not go to the voters until we could guarantee that that is how it would be. And everything is covered by the Brown Act and is very transparent. You will know everything that's going on. You will know where the money is going, and you will know how the decisions are being made.
The Attorney General would be the enforcement mechanism. If someone were to discover that the money had been misused and be reported to the Attorney General, then the library district would be sued to replenish the money. I don't anticipate that would ever happen, but there is an
That's
enforcement
right.
mechanism.
You
I
have to get all that.
Question, will the residential parcel tax include all the incorporated cities within the district? And
Yes.
also the rural district?
Yes, the community facilities district is the same as our service area, so it includes all of them. So that only the people in our library district will be voting and will be taxed on this. So it's its own district.
And it's just a set rate.
And it's a set rate, it's $49.50 a year for a residential parcel.
How much does that add up each year when you're talking about the total, but,
The total we expect.
but how much will the tax bring in like the first year?
Oh, I'm not sure, I
That-
memorized a lot of numbers, but I don't think I memorized
That's not really the way it's gonna work though, John. The way it's
Is
gonna
it
work
rolls?
is that as the money comes in, it will be used to purchase bonds, and the money will service the bonds, but the bonds will be almost immediately available to
Oh, okay.
improve the
All
library.
right,
And
yeah.
you don't have to wait the 30 years to
Okay.
collect
Yeah,
the
To
money.
pay off the
it'll be a
bond.
rolling issue, yeah.
The 30 years is to pay the bonds
Now,
off.
one of the things I meant to mention and forgot, because I get too excited about the library, is that this needs a 2/3 vote So it's extremely, you know, we
Yeah.
polling very well, but it's really important that people not have a bad day and forget to go to the polls, because we need 2/3.
Yeah.
And the work all has to be done within the first 5 years. It will take us 30 years to pay it off, but it's very clear about, we're not gonna wait 30 years to
Okay.
address what needs to be